Hello everyone, here are my thoughts about CitizenCon 2023. I wasn't sure how to do this. I thought about making a video for every single topic, like master modes, new ships and so on, but I decided to make just one video. This is not a summary, I only talk about things I find important. It was a lot of work to go through more than 10 hours of footage.
This year is the most excited I've ever been at a CitizenCon. I think we're going to show some stuff that's going to blow your guys' minds. A lot of stuff we've been working on really hard actually for the last few years. Anyway, I can't wait to see what you guys think of it. And there's a lot of stuff that's been iterated on by Squadron 42. You guys will have probably noticed that the tasks have dried up on the task tracker. And you're going to sort of see the results of that over these next 2 days. So hopefully you like it. And a lot of what you're going to see is going to be coming into Star Citizen over the next 12 months. Even a few little things will come into 322 at the end of this year. But definitely next year, a lot of what you'll be seeing will be coming in, and it's going to make a dramatically different experience in Star Citizen. So I'm very, very excited.
Pause. I'm very excited to make a video 12 months from now to see how many of those new things are actually in the game in the next 12 months. CRG is showing the engine. They don't call it CryEngine, they don't call it Lumberyard, of course. It's Star Engine. This must mean it's something special, but it's pretty much an obsolete engine by now. And CRG tells us this is all in engine. Yes, in engine, but this doesn't mean it's in a game like this. So this all is in engine, but it's pretty much pre-rendered. And did you notice something? Look closely. Did you notice something? Come on, I'm sure you noticed this. No pop-ins, not a single pop-in. What are pop-ins? Games are using 2D graphics for background, and as soon as you're coming closer, they are switching to 3D foreground graphics, and this generates a lot of pop-ins unless you are using a very modern engine like, for example, Unreal 5, which has nanites and can deal with this. CRG makes it look like the engine is something special. They call it Star Engine, but it's still the good old CryEngine, and CryEngine is long obsolete. It has massive problems with LOD. You can see all those things popping in, and I'm not flying very fast. All those stones are slowly popping in at a very close distance. This must be around 20-30 meters. I don't see CRG fixing this. This would be like writing a completely new engine. Same with cities. Here flying above a city and then things are just popping in. It's very hard for engines to deal with this. Actually, most engines have this problem. All of them, except very, very new ones, like for example, Unreal 5. Now, I'm not saying CRG should switch to Unreal 5. This would be a massive task. But one day they might switch to a more modern engine. And even when you drive, look at all those cars just popping in at like 10 meters in front of the vehicle. Suddenly you can see those green things popping in. If CRG can fix this, and I have my doubts, this would be something very, very special. Back to CRG's CitizenCon footage. Not a single pop-in, not one pop-in. So either CRG did a miracle and they are wizards and they fixed CryEngine, or we also have Fauna, remember 2017 Fauna video, or this is BS. I hope this is real, I hope you are getting this, but I have my doubts. Fixing CryEngine by dealing with LOD issues would be a massive task. This would be almost like writing a completely new engine, but maybe CRG can do it. And of course, flying space whales again. Don't expect this in a game in the next 5 years, maybe never. CIG is teasing us with fire again, and they are making the same mistake Hollywood does. A lot of fire, not a lot of smoke. In real life, this would be just the opposite. A lot of smoke, you couldn't see anything. A few weeks ago, I released a video, Environmental Damage 7 years later, and I got a few comments. This is an MMO, you can't have destructible environments. Yeah, right.
But I'm going to turn the stage over to the core technology group to talk about some of all this new tech that you just saw and go into more detail. And we'll be rolling into Star Citizen over the next 12 months or so. And some of it, like some of the new cloud stuff, will actually come in 3.22, which is great.
I am pretty much sure I will have my fun with this. I have nothing against Chris, of course. I have a photo with Chris. But Chris said we are getting 4.0 with multiple new star systems at the beginning of 2018. We are getting Pyro in 2020. We are getting farming in 3.3 autumn 2017. So take this with a huge grain of salt. Let's say with a truckload of salt.
The removal of oxygen, for example, locking off the area, venting the oxygen, creating a vacuum.
Well. Looks like atmospheric room system is still on the table. So there will be a video, atmospheric room system 7 years later in November. And most ships, especially many of the newer ones, are not even built with an atmospheric room system in mind. The new water looks very good. I hope that vehicles don't explode anymore as soon as wheels are touching water. And now we have the good old crackhead buggy. Let's drive in very slowly.
So next thing I want to talk about is our scope shader. Design came to me telling me that they really wanted to up the game with our rifle scopes. They weren't quite good enough. They didn't really feel realistic for them. And they thought it was a real core part of the first-person shooter experience.
The problem with the current scopes has nothing to do with shaders, but they are just bad, non-functional, way too many things in the scope that don't help you at all. It's way too cluttered. I hope that CIG will improve this.
Next, I would like to introduce Maelstrom, our physically based destruction system. I would like to do that with a video that I believe speaks for itself.
Well, so much for the few comments I got. You cannot do this in MMO. This is something CIG showed us 7 years ago, only a few bottles back then. But even this, we still don't have in the game. Let's hope it doesn't take another 7 years.
See the water splashes?
Let's hope we really get this, and it's not just some demo rendered for CitizenCon. Again, I really hope this is for real and not just some demo for CitizenCon. And this begs the question, if we get destructible environments, which I would like very much, and who is rebuilding environments? There must be something like a cleanup, otherwise players will destroy everything.
Let's show you the same audio effects applied to the ship weapons, taking us from this to this.
I am looking very forward to this. Some guns, for example Tarantulas, had a very nice deep bass sound before 3.0, but nowadays they sound like a very cheap children alien toy pistol. CHE showed server meshing. We have 3 areas, purple, green and red, and 1 server for each area. Then CHE walked between those areas without any problems. They drove between those areas and they drove some picos. This looks very promising. I'm looking very forward to this.
It's been a really long journey to get to this point. And I've got to say, the team has done an amazing job. They've been working diligently for the last 4 or 5 years. We've had a couple of false starts. We finally have an incredible, I mean, the way the replication layer works and how we can spin up servers and down and keep the state constant, even if a server goes down, is, I think, a genius design. And the first time I saw this, about 3 weeks ago, working fully, I cried.
But you'll be happy to know all the UI you see today is going to make its way to Star Citizen.
New UI, we have now a compass at the top center. I hope we are getting a compass for vehicles too.
Okay, Bone, let's do a quick scan. This highlights whatever's in our line of sight.
Me personally, I'm not a fan of let's do a quick scan and have some red arrows over the heads of the bad guys.
By holding the button, we can charge our scanner, and this reveals enemies through walls using a more powerful wave. But it does cause a spike in our emissions, which makes us easier to detect.
I am not a fan, not at all. This feels like a wall hack.
Okay, let's do a charge scan, please, Bone. Okay. We can also see the augmented reality box outs, which give us a summary of what we've detected. Let's bring up the mobiGlas, please, Bone. We've redesigned the interface to give a smoother user experience. We've overhauled the visuals, as you can see, to make it feel more three-dimensional and holographic. This is actually a sneak peek of the UEE military mobiGlas we've created for Squadron 42.
Chris loves holograms because holograms are cool and he wants to make a movie, not a functional game. Holograms are very bad. Now we are in a rather dark environment, so they are okay. But have fun using this on a bright planet. If you're looking against the sun, if you are on DIMM in daylight, yeah, you have to find a dark spot so you can actually see something.
As you'll notice, we now have the representation of the environment in the upper left corner of our visor.
Yay, we are getting a mini-map. Nice.
So we are now on the technical deck, but we can also see the other floors. If you traverse the floors, Bone, just to demonstrate it. Here's our cartography deck. Down one. And our habitation deck.
This looks very nice. I like it. Chris talked about this a long time ago. We are getting personal hygiene, and I'm not a fan because it doesn't fit into any game environment. Let's say CRG makes this realistic, and you have to shower like once a day, like I do in real life. So you have to shower once every 24 play hours. This would be pointless. So Chris will ramp it up, and we will have to shower like every 1 or 2 hours, like they did with Hunger and Thirst, dying of thirst in 90 minutes. Just think about this. If we would die of thirst in 90 minutes, we couldn't even go to sleep. Yeah, I think this will be just another tedious time sink. CRG showed some very impressive cloth technique. They call it star cloth. I'm looking very forward to this. Looks very, very impressive. We are getting long hair. Cannot wait.
So the first thing you should see is that we've made the exit from gravity less disorientating. Oh, we got a face plant. We made it. All right, so we made the re-entry much more forgiving. So this EVA has a new prone lateral pose, and this is really important to us because it allows us to get close to surfaces and it allows us to walk across them. So we can see that in this video here. Okay, and as it gets to the end, we're going to jump up. Okay, here we go. Into that. And this smaller profile lets us get into spaces we couldn't get into before, or not easily with the old EVA. We're going to traverse through here, thread the needle, and also the collision is much more forgiving. We're going to slide off at slower speeds, so we're not going to be spinning away.
This looks really, really good. I cannot wait.
We might be able to take you swimming there one day.
Yeah, swimming confirmed. Nice.
Sliding. So with the power slide, you inject a burst of speed. This doesn't just take you from A to B faster. You're going to have a reduced profile. You become a smaller target. It doesn't come for free. You know, you're sprinting. So that's going to cost you stamina. You're sliding. That's going to add some stamina cost. And when I do it back to back like this, my heart rate is just pumping, 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 right? So you got to be a bit careful. You can't just slide your whole way from the hubs to the spaceport.
So let me start by telling you what we've made to make it easy for you to identify and interact with these objects in the world. We have introduced in the new interaction prompts, which are AR cards that appear over the objects as the player gets near them. This, combining with scanning, will help the player to easily identify the interactable objects in the scene. You no longer have to go into interaction mode to bring up the cursor, then drag it over, and to select using the inner thoughts. So we're removing that.
This is great news. I personally totally hate the inner thought interaction system. It's so slow, so clunky. And this is fantastic news. Thank you very, very much, Chris.
So our main goal was to give you a better immersion, but at the same time minimizing the friction and the control we take away from you. So this really was an exercise between code, design, and animation to give you the best experience possible. Let's see some of this in action. And you know, pressing buttons has never been so satisfying and fun. And you know, I just kind of like to go.
Yeah, I sound like a broken record, but this is very, very nice. Until now, you could have both your hands on the handlebar of a trolley and use your third hand to click on a button 4 meters away. But this also means some ships need some very serious redesigns, otherwise you cannot reach the button. For example, how are you supposed to reach the button of the front elevator of a reclaimer? There is no way you could reach up there. I'm curious what solutions CRG will come up with.
So in this scenario, the player has to go forward but can't go forward because of the toxic water. So he has to go over to the valve to turn off the water. So before we could maybe play a simple animation when you interacted, but now designers can give full manual control to you. So you, by pressing specific inputs, you will be driving the system.
The more you fire your gun, the more warning it's going to get. And this is going to affect its efficiency, it's going to affect its reliability, and it's going to reduce its resale value.
All-time favorite topic, weapon durability and misfires. I hope that CRG doesn't go overboard with this. If you take a modern assault rifle, you can easily fire 2,000 shots in a day, clean it up, and it's good for another 8,000 shots. Yeah, my fear is CRG will overdo it. I hope not.
To show you this, we have something called backpack reloading. If you run out of ammo in Star Citizen, you have to open a menu, put things on. It's a little bit clunky, it's a little bit awkward. So if you have magazines in your backpack, you will now be able to grab them at the price of a longer reload animation. You will also be able to tell when you have a backpack reload coming up because it will be displayed on the inventory with the backpack symbol. So there's no surprises, no catching up. You have all the information you need.
What's going on with Chris? Did someone replace Chris? I like this very much. Backpack reloading. It just takes longer. Yes, it's not absolutely accurate. It's a bit gamey, but it makes gameplay so much more fun, so much faster. Thank you very, very much for this, Chris.
This is our new crosshair. It's a crosshair that fits the aesthetic of Star Citizen. It's a crosshair that follows the barrel of the weapon, so you'll see exactly where a bullet is going to land. And it's projected from the visor using AR, Some visors won't have access to this crosshair, but some will use modified combat lenses. So if you don't want to use the crosshair, you can just use a different visor. As you can see, it works with recoil, and overall, it just looks gorgeous. PvP, we want to increase the time to kill. This allows for more varied weapon balancing. You know, we can lay into like sort of different aspects of the element more. It leads to higher skill ceiling and less unfair deaths. It will no longer be a game of whoever shoots whoever first. Speaking of which, force reactions. We're reworking them. We're aware it's frustrating, and we are going to rework the system to work beautifully.
This is one good news after the other. I hate those fast reactions. They absolutely make no sense. You always just land on your butt. You're never thrown forward, reverse, or to your sides. We have to wait and see how PvP balance changes, longer time to kill, actually work in the game. But those numbers can be always adjusted. CRG is showing distribution centers. Those are in white box, so still a long while away. I guess some cargo hubs. And we have roads. Look at this. First time we have seen roads. But again, this is not in-game footage. Hold your horses. This will take a while. We are getting freight elevators, which can be very nice, but come on, you don't want us to load our ships ourselves, our big ships. I don't mind moving a few crates, I don't mind moving vehicles into my ship, but don't make us load our big ships. So far, I've seen nothing like machines, nothing like automation, nothing like NPCs helping us loading our ship. I don't want to play Amazon Warehouse Simulator. You also have those hover machines, that you are moving by yourself. Yeah, CRG doesn't care about mass. Things still have mass even if they wouldn't weight anything, let's say in CRG conditions. Things still have mass, so this wouldn't work. What about machines? When are we getting machines? And this is almost comical. Many beams make light work. Yeah, sure, I invite 10 friends into my personal hangar, and we have a lot of fun putting cargo into my Hercules C2. Machines, NPCs, automations. Please, show us something. And you can spawn vehicles into your personal freight elevator and load them onto your ship. I guess those outposts where we can spawn vehicles will be a thing of the past.
All right, so base building. All right, it breaks down into two really large gameplay sections, planning ahead and prepping, and then you've got the on-site where you're actually going to build. So with that, you need to figure out what your goal is. Is it to have a home with a nice view and relax? Is it to have a trading post where you want to create and sell items? Is it to gather resources available and move on to the next area? Or is it to be off-grid and be completely self-sufficient? First area is high security. So you must purchase the land. The base is actually invulnerable because of the planetary shield tech. A security will show up to protect it as well. You pay for the privilege, you're taxed. So at this point, you won't have the best resources available. You won't have access to the best resources available on the planet. If you don't pay your taxes, the shields will go away after a period of time, and the base will become derelict and will collapse. But this is low risk, low reward. Then you've got low security. So again, you must purchase the land. It's owned by an independent corp, gang, or faction. Again, you don't have access to all the best resources on the planet. The base is vulnerable. AI NPCs will show up and protect the base if it's attacked. The protection will escalate over time. Player can also build defenses to help mitigate this as well. And then it's medium reward, medium risk. Then you've got lawless. So this is no protection other than what you build. There's shields, anti-air. Players can disable the shields by getting close to them and destroying them. High risk, high reward. Since there's no taxes, no protection fees, you get a high return on the resources that you collect. So with the surveyor tool, you can only build the small buildings. With a vehicle, you can build small and medium-sized buildings. With the Galaxy, you can build small to large structures. And then obviously with the Pioneer, Pioneer can do it all.
This is very interesting news. I didn't know that Galaxy can build. Maybe there's a special module for this. And if you just want to build something small, you can use vehicles. And Pioneer, of course, can build everything and is needed for larger structures.
We start development Q1.
CIG is starting development of base building first quarter 2024. My guess is we won't see anything of this in the next 3 or 4 years. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe CIG is quicker, but so far I would say this will take a while. Still, this looks very, very promising.
So here is a big block of squares that represents our backlog. So each one of these squares is a ship or a vehicle. All the light blue ones are all the ones we have released to date. All those gray ones are the ones that we have not done yet. The dark blue ones are the ones that will be in your hands by the end of the year.
At first glance, this doesn't look too bad. We have a lot of blue ships already released. We have quite a few of white ships that still needs work. And we have dark blue ships that are getting released or already are released in 2023. However, the problem is most of those blue ships that are already released still need to get to current standard. And in year 12, CIG doesn't have a gold standard yet. The goalpost is still moving. Just getting those blue ships already released to a certain standard that's not known yet will be a lot of work. Some views of BMM, work in progress, a ship that was supposed to get released in 3.3 autumn 2017. But it's good news that CIG is working on BMM again.
I will just add to that as well. We aim to deliver everything you see in this video and more in the next 12 months.
Utility rework in the next 12 months? And Polaris? In the next 12 months? Color me surprised. Polaris, work in progress, and please Chris, hire an architect. Those doorways don't make any sense. Those would be major trip hazards in real life. And those hallways, come on, please. No one would build something like this.
But the good thing is, the relationship between you and your starship, it doesn't start when you take off. It starts way before that. There's a lot of stuff we do now in pre-flight.
And you, the pilot, have to press all the different buttons to get your ship ready for flying, and the character hands will be lowered away from the control stick. So all of this blends neatly into our new player animated interaction system, whereby any button is now physically pressed.
I'm sure there are people who like this, but I'm not a fan, having to press the same buttons each time I want to fly. But maybe it's interesting.
So you can see now that you won't directly grab the control stick. You'll be put on this relaxed pose with free look enabled. And you can see the different prompts appear over the buttons. So let's get this show started and get your ship ready for flying. So Brent, if you could close the canopy so we don't go flying around with that open. power our systems. Oh, look at that.
Aegis combat assassin.
And finally, turn our engines. Yeah, so you are now ready for flying. So we will be bringing all of this to all of our ships in our fleet.
Chris always said he wants DCS-style cockpit buttons. I guess he got some now for the Gladius, but bringing this to all the ships, this will take a lot of time, a lot of man-hours.
So this is the first glimpse of the engineering UI in action. It is still being worked on, so it's heavy work in progress. Let's start with looking at the item view. So you can see the full setup of the network with the relays, the green dots connecting to each other, and the relays connecting to the items. Color and shape below the icons should help you identify the different item types, like power plants, weapons, also helping differentiate between consumer, producer, and converters. You can tell the current state of the item, that means the amount of energy it produces, consumes, or has stored, the health state it is in, the current wear and tear on the item, and the current state it runs in, like charging or being in an idle state. You can directly interact with these items, turn them on and off, and in the future even switch their states. Here Pete shoots a relay to show the UI updates on the screen. So once this relay got shot at, you will see the update here on the UI that suddenly the entire right-hand side of your ship lost power connection. So I'm commanding Simon to repair the power plant to get it fully operational again.
This looks very interesting, but once again, everything in Star Citizen is a beam. Now we have a repair beam.
Take a closer look at the doors. Since we also track the door states, you see that you can watch movement inside your ships now nicely. So you can track players moving around in your ship and even close doors for them. So Pete destroyed the relay, but we need the ship in fully functional state. So yeah, I'm running now with a fuse and place it in the relay, so make the relay work again. We also show the door states where you can now have precise control over each door in your ship.
I like this very much, but we also need some access control. Who has permission to open doors? Who has permission to use engineering console? Do we get something like keys or something like biometric keys? This would be very, very useful and very, very welcome.
Let's make our crew suffocate again. So the moment that you basically pull off their helmets, and now me pressing the cycle button, you see that the entire atmosphere in this room is vented. And yeah, well, the consequence is death.
I really would like to see an atmospheric room system, and CIG still wants it, but very soon we can celebrate atmospheric room system 7 years later, because CIG showed this to us first time 7 years ago. And of course, many ships, especially newer ones, are not built with an atmospheric room system in mind. This means a lot of reworks.
I hope you've enjoyed everything you've seen in these last 2 days. We were really excited to show you a lot of it. And I've sort of seen some online comments about, okay, well, that's very cool, but when are we going to get it in the game? But one of the real reasons why we wanted to show you this CitizenCon is because we've hit an inflection point on a lot of the features, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention, not making 100% promise, just so everyone remembers that, to get them into Star Citizen through next year. So it's not going to be gated on having to be after Squadron 42. So we're planning over the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next year. Hopefully everything that we've shown you, you will have in your hands playing inside Star Citizen. As you may have guessed, and Brian Chambers may have let slip a bit earlier, we are feature complete on Squadron 42. You will not get a release date from me today because, first of all, you always get very angry at me when I give dates. It will be when I know that we're fully about ready to print the Gold Masters, but it won't be just yet. But we prepared, the Squadron 42 team prepared a small video for you. I may be lying, it's a bit bigger than small. To give you a glimpse of everything we've been working on and what the gameplay looks and feels like. So let's roll that.
Could have pulled this off of the Galactopedia.
Yeah, probably, but I think their solar mass calculations are wrong, though.
Well, this is ridiculous.
How so?
Recently crafted space vistas and level art being content complete now.
It'd be nice to know how much of a shitstorm we're flying into.
More like a hellstorm, Blue. One you ain't gonna fly out of.
Shut up.
How did you handle it after Vega?
Thank you so much. It's been definitely a long time coming. As you can see on that video, that's Squadron 42 gameplay. So we are really dialing it in and polishing it, and we're really proud of what it is. I mean, anyway, I think it's going to be something I'm very, very proud of. So I can't wait for you guys to play it in the. I'm not going to say when, but anyway. And anyway, we kind of spent the time to craft something that's that beautiful with as much attention to detail and love without your guys' support, just like we couldn't be building the universe of Star Citizen without your guys' support. So I am, on my side, incredibly grateful, as is everybody at CIG, for your continued support, because we're building, a universe of dreams and stories of dreams, and it's a really wonderful thing to be able to do as a creative. So thank you, everyone here, and everyone watching, and everyone that supports Star Citizen and Squadron 42. So thank you guys very, very much. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited about what we've got upcoming in the future, because a lot of the foundational tech, the persistent entity streaming, and you saw server meshing earlier on yesterday, enables a lot of the stuff that's going to come to the PU, like the base building and the persistent hangars. So I am incredibly excited by 24 and beyond. And anyway, thank you guys for supporting. I will see you in the verse. And thank you so much for coming out to share this with us. Bye.
Looks like Chris was really emotional. Nice to see this. What CIG showed us, this CitizenCon, was absolutely impressive. Absolutely stunning. Chris said we will see a lot of what CIG showed the CitizenCon in a game in the next 12 months. Color me skeptical. Squadron 42 is feature complete, which is very nice. This means no more feature creep. Very, very nice. However, feature complete does not mean it's just around the corner. Squadron 42 is now in the polishing phase. This can take months, or if someone is a perfectionist, Chris Roberts, years. So we have to wait and see. Very impressive CitizenCon, a lot better than I thought. I just would like to remind you that many of the things CIG showed us are many, many years away. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, let's try the big elevator. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.